Hello and welcome to the first part of my trip. And right now I'm in Florence, Italy, which is one of the most important artistic cities in the world, mainly because of the birth of the Renaissance period. So legendary artists like Leonardo da Vinci were born right in this city. It's also where Leonardo da Vinci painted the famous Mona Lisa. So even though the Mona Lisa is currently living in the Louvre in France, it obviously holds a dear part of this city. But for now, let's not get ahead of ourselves because it's all about the Uffizi Gallery here in Florence, and there's no better place to start. On my way through to the Uffizi Gallery, I walked through a large crowd of people to see the Florence Cathedral, which is famous for its Renaissance dome and Gothic style. And with all the cathedrals I've seen across Europe, this might be my favourite one because it just seems so unique. After waiting in an entrance queue, I was inside the gallery. I was particularly looking for the Leonardo da Vinci paintings because I knew I wanted to recreate one of them later on. Being in Florence and seeing these paintings can't be missed, even if you aren't a fan of art. It's ingrained in this city. But it's not just paintings. Florence is home to the very famous Michelangelo's David, a 17-foot marble statue. I wanted to see the replica of the statue in the centre of Florence before visiting the real thing in the Accademia Gallery. And after seeing the replica, I knew I had to see the real thing during this trip. And as I was standing there looking at it, it gave me an idea for a sketch which I would attempt later on. The next day, after getting some food, I decided to change things up and have a little trip away from Florence. After having a look, it became clear where I wanted to go to, and it gave me somewhere new to explore. So, seeing as I had a spare couple of hours in Florence, I've decided to take a short train journey to Pisa. And of course, there's only one place to start when you're in Pisa, and it's at the Leaning Tower. And then naturally, the first thing you think about when you think of Pisa is the Leaning Tower. And it shows because when you look around everywhere, there's so many people. Everyone is doing the same leaning pose, which I can't really bring myself to do. But everyone's having fun, that's the main thing. As impressive as the tower is, it's not the only thing I've come here to see in Pisa. More importantly for me, I've wanted to come and see the Keith Haring mural, which I believe is on the side wall of a church, only about 5 or 10 minute walk away from here. So it was painted in 1989, but from what I've heard, it still looks as modern as something you would see today. So I'm going to have a little walk around here now and head straight over to the mural to see what I think. It's a very obvious thing to say when you're at the tower, but your instinctive reaction is to say, why is that leaning so much? There is no pearl of wisdom, it's just genuinely really strange. And with some very touristy spots, it's not worth the visit, but this really is. And the grounds surrounding the tower are also beautifully well kept. There is plenty to see. After a short walk, I came to the Keith Haring mural. It's always quite surreal seeing a piece of art from a famous artist on the side of an ordinary building, just like when you see something by Banksy. There were some interested people, but not too many. really think when you look at that Keith Haring mural and also the big mural of Galileo, then you really see with the added colour, it gives it a much more modern effect compared to when you look at the Renaissance paintings. So I love how when you look back at art over time compared to now, how much things have changed, but also how amazing it still is. And I think that's something I'm going to look at in the next drawing I'm going to do of the one and only Mona Lisa. It was time to head back to the train station to get a train back to Florence. After that very quick journey, I wanted to get in full Italian mode and get a pizza and a glass of Aperol Spritz. With the Michelangelo's David replica still in my mind, I headed to the Uffizi Gallery to see the real thing. Everyone will have a different reaction to seeing that statue. Some will really not care or see the significance of it. Others will be inspired, and others will be somewhere in the middle. And all of these are fine. I can get inspired by all types of art, whether it's paintings, drawings, statues, films, or even songs. All I knew was I wanted to do a quick sketch of the statue whilst I was in Florence. So I headed to a beautiful park with a great view of Florence. After having a good walk around, I found somewhere to have a sit down and make a start on the drawing. After making a good start, I had to finish it later on when I had access to some spray paints. My time in Florence had come to an end, and after deciding that I wanted to complete my very own Mona Lisa drawing, I wanted to make one last stop off on this Italy trip. A city known for its red-roofed buildings and delicious food. Oh, and don't forget about their porticos, a series of arches lasting for miles. Good afternoon from the culinary capital of Italy, Bologna. Just a 40-minute train journey away from Florence. I feel like I've looked at the art side of Italy enough now. It's time for me to sit down and enjoy some food and drink. So I'm going to start with that now and head towards a restaurant and hopefully have a traditional bolognese, which, as you can see from the name of the city, is where it comes from. After a starter of bruschetta, I had a traditional bolognese with a little bit of parmesan, before exploring the city of Bologna. After a good amount of exploring, I decided I wasn't finished with food yet, and I wanted a little bit of dessert. We have a raviola, which, if you were in England, is sort of like a mince pie. And then we have a pescina, which seems to be like a sugared peach, which is actually really, really good. And then just a standard slice of carrot cake, because I just think carrot cake's unreal. And then I have a cappuccino speciale, which I had no idea what it was at first. I thought it might have been a dessert that I ordered accidentally. But it seems to be like espresso at the bottom with whipped cream on top and then pistachios all over. And it's actually really good. At first I thought I'd made a big error, and I almost ordered a second cappuccino, but it worked out pretty well, so it's good. Okay, so it turns out this definitely isn't a carrot cake. It's really nice, but I don't know quite what it is. And this definitely isn't a sugared peach. Again, no idea what it is. I think maybe it's meant to look like a peach, but it's like a sugary, fruity sponge cake. Again, it's really, really nice. And the last thing, the mystery drink, which I didn't know what it was. There was a lot of syrup in the very bottom, which obviously I didn't mix in. So overall, it's really, really nice. But I just made many, many errors, which is my own fault. So what can you do? Just nice anyway. Look, we all make mistakes when we are travelling around, but I really should learn to ask properly what I'm ordering. Anyway, I had time for a last walk through the narrow Bologna streets before trying to get a glimpse of the red roofs, which proved very difficult as all of the vantage points were closed for maintenance. And for my last meal in Italy, I had a Bianchi tortellini and a dessert before the final part of my Mona Lisa journey. I've arrived here at the Louvre Gallery for the final part of this trip. So I'm going to get to see the Mona Lisa up close in person, and then I'm going to start my own drawing of that legendary painting. So this is my last chance to really get an idea of what colours to use, whether to keep it exactly the same. So I'm very excited. It's quite a lot of people, quite a big queue to go through, but I have booked tickets, so a warning for everyone: if you do come here, make sure you book tickets online first, because if you don't, the queue is huge. But I've got my tickets, so let's head over there now and see what it is like. Naturally, it's not only the Mona Lisa which can be found here. There are thousands of different statues and paintings like this, also by Leonardo da Vinci, and the world famous Venus de Milo statue. However, I was here for one big reason, and it seemed like almost everyone had the same thinking: the most recognizable painting in the world, the Mona Lisa. And it's not just the one painting you can see. You can buy anything Mona Lisa in the gift shop, again showing it's more than just any normal portrait. I was ready to recreate my own version of the painting, and using my journey from Florence to Paris, I wanted to incorporate all of my ideas together. I decided to add more vibrant colours, taking inspiration from the murals in Florence, as well as a nod to Keith Haring's black and white art for the second layer. After an amazing trip discovering the sights and art of Florence, the incomparable Leaning Tower in Pisa, the beautiful streets of Bologna, before finishing in Paris, this journey of Mona Lisa discovery is over.